Welcome to a new episode of the Rock Fantasy Files as we get to chat with Johnny Hedlund, bass vocals of Swedish death metal legends Unleashed, as we get to chat about the new studio album, No Sign of Life, out November 12th of 2021 via our friends over at Napalm Records. Also joining me is my co-host today, Mr. John McEntee of Incantation. Johnny is not going to be on camera, but we will be talking to him, but we're doing this on our Zoom. So Johnny, welcome. And where are you joining us from today, John?
I'm actually at the office, so well, it ain't so romantic here, but it's actually but at least I could join you. So
okay, great.
And thanks for having me.
Awesome. It's great to have you.
So let's chat about this new album.
Yeah, man.
What can you tell us about it?
Well, I first of all, but it took about 1.5, 2 years to make the damn thing, but yeah, well, we're really happy about it. I mean, at first I thought it would be some kind of problem because of the pandemic and everything, but then again, you know, we're all doing things so damn digital anyway. I mean, we're sending files back and forth just like most bands do these days. So actually nothing really got in the way for it. So I'm pretty happy we could just go ahead and have the creative process just like we normally do. So, and then when we started recording it, it wasn't so much of a problem either, because I mean, it's just the four of us anyway. So, and yeah, everything worked out extremely well, and here we are. I mean, and so I was actually a little unsure if it was reasonable to release the album even when we don't even know if we can actually play some shows, but the record company insisted and said, let's go. So yeah, there we are.
Yeah, at least here in the States, things are opening up. There's a lot of tours. There are some European bands here touring the States now, and it seems like things are getting somewhat back to normal here in the new normal. But you have the same lineup from the Hunt from White Christ 2018.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, you've had the same lineup for quite some time, actually, right?
Yeah, I just figured we'd make
we do,
that.
Yeah, they're hanging in there, man.
That's great.
So let's say, how does this LP differ from The Hunt for White Christ, which I thought was a great album? I think it was in my top 10 of 2018 that year. It was 2018, right, John?
Well, thanks a lot. Well, I don't know if it differs all that much, really. I guess when we start the creative process for a new album, obviously we always try and, you know, the aim is always to make a better album than the previous one, but you can't really do that more than well, you can aim for it, but you never really know if you've done 14 records. So I mean, if you have 1 or 2 records out, maybe you could say, okay, this third one or the fourth album will in fact be a lot better, but we've done it so many years now, and so I mean, like, this is our, I guess we're up in, what is it, 32 years now.
Wow.
So obviously we think the album is a little bit better. We think the production is a little bit better, but again, that is for others to judge. I'm extremely happy with the outcome. So yeah.
Excellent.
Well, yeah, I think it's cool that you know, really on all your albums, you kind of retain the core of your sound, but it's still expanding on it too, which I think is really awesome because it makes it fresh for each time, I think. Would you agree?
John. Thanks. Yeah, that's actually what we love to hear, because we really talk about this all the time. I mean, also not just before the creative process starts, but also in the end of it. I mean, are the songs actually, do they keep to the roots? Are we developing, you know, solidly and not too fast? And, you know, are we adding some new and fresh influences to it, yet keeping the old school death metal style? You know, these are questions that have to be addressed, and we do, seriously. So
that's really, well, I look at it's really refreshing that you do, because, you know, when you get an Unleashed album, it's going to sound like Unleashed. It's going to have some, you know, new elements, like you said, but you're still, it's not like somebody who listen to you back in the early days, going to hear the new one and be like, oh, wow. Because, so many bands have changed so drastically. And I never really understood why they would want to change so much and still keep it under the same, banner name. I think it's easy enough if you want to do something else, just to start a band in that new style and, have it be, kind of pure to that. What's your take on that? I mean,
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, I'm that's how I am myself. If I find a band that I really enjoy, then even if they release, 10 or 15 or 20 albums, I want them to sound like they did when I liked it the most. But obviously I want them to develop, obviously.
Yeah.
But you don't want your beer to taste like fucking pickles, There is a reason, there is a reason for why you keep to the things that are really good, You don't want it to change drastically. So I totally agree.
I applaud that for sure. As a fan of the band, it's really refreshing to not have to worry about it, what the hell Unleash is going to do next,
Well, that's good to hear. Oh, you don't have to do it. No, but seriously, I that's the kind of things that we talk about all the time, and we're carefully, man, looking at new songs just because of that. Because it's probably kind of easy. It would be easy to just go away and change a little bit too much, because you're somewhat influenced by some new ideas, but you have to keep that in check, I guess, and also, I mean, I mean, both you and I, we started listening to this type of music because we like the music, and not because we thought we would be touring musicians. That wasn't our first idea. Our first ideas was to drink beer and bang our heads to and fucking go to a show, and so and that's still the thing, so I kind of look at my own music as if it was just another record that I would go out and spend some money on, and talk to my friends about, and grab a beer and go to the show. And I think that's, as long as we keep doing that, we should be safe.
Cool.
Perfect.
Let's actually break down some of the tracks on the new album. I know you released a video for The King Lost His Crown, and let's talk about some of the songs, maybe, to get the word out on them, and some of the subject matters are still based in Nordic and Vikings folklore and stuff like that for the most part. And let's touch base on that, and maybe some of the other songs that you got featured for videos, or songs that you would immediately say we're putting on our set list when you do go out and hit the road.
Well, this album right now is the 5th consecutive album with the same storyline.
Okay.
Me and a friend wrote a book. Well, we started to write a book many years ago that was called The World of Odalheim, and well, since life kind of started hunting us, then we never got around to finish the damn thing. So what happened was that I didn't really want to throw away all the material, and I said, well, how about trying to make the chapters into songs, so to speak. And that's what happened. So this is the fifth consecutive album now where we have the same storyline, and so where The Hunt for White Christ ended, that's where No Sign of Life begins, so to speak.
Okay.
Story wise.
Awesome.
Okay.
It is about, well, the general plot here is about the Midgard warriors and their fight for their way of life against their main enemy, White Christ, so everything just plays out according to that storyline. I don't know if that answers your question, but
It kind of does, yeah. But and I didn't get a chance to listen to the new album yesterday. They said the site was down where they were going to send it over to me to hear the record. So I've only really heard the video going into this, and how many tracks are on the album? So because I'm very unaware, so most of our viewers are too,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's 11 songs. Yeah.
11 songs. And what song starts off the album?
The King Lost His Crown.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have, well, it's 11 songs, and well, 3 of them, actually, we had a video released today of one of the songs called You Are the Warrior. So
Excellent.
So it's just 3 songs right now, but tomorrow is the actual release date, so it should all be out there on Spotify and everything.
That'll be great, and I will have it. I own a record store here in United States, about an hour north of New York City, and I have it on order. I don't know if the vinyl's coming in yet, or that's getting the CD, because vinyl's been very tough to get our hands on.
Yeah, I think they're delayed. Because
Yep.
they told us we're not getting our copies, so I think there's something there. I don't know how much delayed it will be. It
Okay.
could be days or week, I have no idea. But they say it's delayed anyway.
So what are some of the stronger songs you would say? The other question I did have was what songs, if you're looking at this new album and you say, well, I'm going on the tour in a month or whatever, we know might not be possible now, but what were some of the songs that you would say immediately, I want to play these songs on live, maybe?
Well, we're actually discussing that right now.
Okay.
Which ones would take place on the set list, because I was actually practicing the set list a few hours prior to this
Okay.
show, and so we're not really there yet, but it's it will be decided just within a week. So because our first show is in the Netherlands on the 10th of December, so
Oh wow.
so we're really gonna have to make up our minds right now, and I don't really, I mean, I think there's always this question, which songs would be the best, but on the other hand, which songs are funniest to play live? I don't, sometimes you don't really know which would be the thing to do. I think that's a problem, and it's an increasing problem, because 14 albums is, well, that's 14 albums, and even if you play an hour, that's like 14 songs, right? And we're not really playing one song from each album. Normally there's, some songs will be more preferable now than and we have to change the set list, obviously, since the last time. So we're battling about that really within the band. I mean, I guess all musicians do. I mean, especially if you have more than like 1 or 2 albums, and it's a battle. But we're getting there.
Cool.
Yeah. I wanted to know, are you guys going to be able to make it over to the US do touring? Because I don't think you really toured for the last one here. I know you did Maryland Death Fest and maybe
Right.
a couple other things. What's up with that?
Right. No, it's actually purposely. We don't do any longer tours. We're trying to plan as many festivals and shows as we can, obviously, depending on how, family life situation looks like. But staying away for a month is kind of hard, really. It's quite rough. So we'll see. But for sure, if anything that turns up in the US, obviously we'll want to go there. I mean, that's a priority for sure.
Yeah, because I really think the US audience is really hungry for, Unleashed for sure. So even though you can't tour, it definitely would be worth it to come here and kick some ass.
Oh hell yeah, man, for sure.
I've got a question for you that's not about the new album, but I asked this to all of our guests on the vlog. I guess what are some of your early influences that made you want to like bang your head and drink beer and play this extreme like metal and death metal and whatever else? If we go back in time.
Yeah, man. Well, how far back? You mean like the first album?
Yeah, like what got you into metal? Like, the beginning, like wow, I heard that record and wow, this is great and I want to do this, or
Right. Well, I mean, let's say way before I actually picked up an instrument and tried to play, I would say, I think I was maybe 12 or 13 years old, something like that. And I went from Elvis, Buddy Holly type music to AC/DC, Motorhead, Manowar, Accept, Iron Maiden, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what happened literally. And then it just got worse from there, I guess. But after heavy metal, we all took the step to thrash metal and speed metal, and then came, Celtic Frost and Venom and all those bands came around, and Bathory. And so and that led us all into, like, autopsy, morbid angel, death type music, and and so and I guess then I must have been like 16 years old or something like that, or when I started playing. But I think my first metal shows and such were when I was 13. So we're talking, well, early 80s, the 80, 81 or 82 or something like that.
Excellent. I agree with John about you guys with coming to the States if it was possible, because I've seen like more of that. Like, I'm not comparing you with Amon Amarth, but I do, because of you both work on some of the same, much more melodic at times, but they both touch on the same subject matter, and they've really been blowing up over in the States. And I just think the whole Viking metal thing is really like blossomed over here again with a little bit, with maybe because of them and some other bands. But I agree that Unleashed would do very well. It's been years since I've actually caught you in the States. I remember you being on tour, and we were doing some kind of a party up at the Chance in Poughkeepsie with my shop, and I still have a photo of me and you standing there, but it was quite a few years ago now. It might have been
All
in
right. Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
My
Yeah,
memory,
we should definitely come back again. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's something we definitely have to do, and sooner rather than later, for sure. Yeah.
my memory is not clear on who you were on tour with that time, but it all blends together.
Yeah, man. Well, it could have been Cannibal Corpse or something like that, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think it might have been. I think it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I look forward to grabbing a copy of this and getting this, and we can help promote it and get some sales here, at least in my record shop and with the channel. And John, you probably got a couple more questions.
I mean, just for the fun of it, I know you have a super long history. I mean, do you have any cool, just like old school stories from either, early Unleashed or like your Nihilist time and stuff like that? I mean, those were legendary underground times, and I just love to hear, about that stuff. And our listeners would probably be interested if you could think of something kind of cool or interesting,
Well, well, there are some really strange stories that I recall, obviously, but but they, I don't know. Well, maybe I should. Well, there are a few. I recall once when we were, well, not just once, but several times, because, well, we had parties way back then, and obviously, if you're a young guy in Sweden and you're listening to death metal and you have Morbid Angel on high volume, nobody wants to be with you. Nobody wants to have you around, and that's kind of obvious. So, and we're talking like the late 80s now. So. So we had to form our own little parties, and many of these times we had to find our way in either some open terrain someplace on a mountain or something, or we will just party at somebody's backyard, but not really in the backyard, because then somebody would call the police, so that didn't work. And I know I've told the story some time ago, because about some of the parties we had in the subway stations in Stockholm, and I remember one of the times when we what we did was that we gathered in a subway station where we knew there were no guards, and that actually could happen in Sweden way back then, and since this was kind of early, they didn't really have any cameras either. So when we gathered like 15 or 20 people just to bang heads, and we had the stereo on pretty high volume, we would play like, autopsy on full volume, and drinking beers and banging heads, and people were, on their way home from work or something. And that was a typical Friday night back then. It was actually good times. But I remember one of the times when actually the guards came out from one of the subways that entered the station, and they kind of asked us to leave. And so, but we didn't really want to leave, obviously, but because it was cold outside. So we took the damn subway again and traveled to another station, and we just walked out there and had our way with our bottles and everything, and had a good time. And for some reason, they didn't follow. And I think today that would have been impossible, because they would see us directly with a CCTV system or something, and they would send the cops or something, you know. But that's that was quite a fun thing that we actually could do that way back then. I mean, today it would just be impossible.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. The stuff we used to be able to get away with back then
Yeah,
was just insane compared to the way things are now, you know?
yeah. But I mean, we didn't really hurt anybody, so you
No.
know, it was just us. But I mean, yeah, we probably sounded and looked a bit different, I guess. You know. But
Yeah,
but we
especially
were
back then, because back then, like, Swedish death metal wasn't even really a thing yet. It was just, you
right.
know, a bunch of kids into death metal, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like even known, you know?
Yeah, and I think that people that saw us, they came, maybe they had a, you know, the late shift and were on their way home, and they got terrified because they looked at us, you know, rotting around, as we call it, but and banging heads and shit. But I think that they didn't really know what to make of it, because like you said, they had no idea what all of that was. Maybe if they realized something, even, you know, they could have thought, well, okay, these are metalheads. That's probably what they could think, but they had never seen anything like it before.
Maybe they
Because-
thought you were a gang like the Warriors.
Yeah, maybe, you know, maybe, you know, like, yeah, I really don't know, but and the fun thing is, I haven't really met anyone from that time that saw us back then that could testify as to what they actually experienced. But it must have been strange though. I sometimes think, what if maybe my mother or father would have seen that, because they had no idea, obviously. And they shouldn't, because I was like 18, so I mean, they shouldn't really care, you know, anyway. But I wonder what they would have made of it, you know. It must have been a strange thing to see, because it wasn't your average metal show. And I mean, even if you're a Swede in late 80s, you would know what a metal show was, and you would know what the metalheads did on the show. But looking at that subway station party type thing, that was similar to that at all, you know. So
Sounds like a blast.
yeah, man, it was.
I guess before we wrap this up, do you have any special plans to promote this album? You said you do have a gig in December.
Yeah, I mean, just like most bands now, we're just hoping that our schedule is going to move on from there. We
Yeah.
have we're going to the UK in February. We have a headline show in Stockholm. I mean, in Gothenburg in March, and I think we're going to Switzerland in January as well. And so
Okay.
hopefully things are just gonna move on.
Yes.
But well, fingers crossed. You don't really know, but hopefully. So and the summer is booked as well with a lot of shows. So it's looking good now, but we'll see. We'll see.
And what was the idea behind the box set? You have a really neat looking like box set made out of wood that's limited edition, I believe, for the album.
Yeah, that's something that Thomas worked on with Napalm, and yeah, I kind of like it. It's a nice little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it myself though. I think I don't think it's delayed, but I don't know exactly when they will send that out, but hopefully very soon, because I want to see it physically too. I mean, I know what it looks like with all the, you know, all the images, but I don't know how it, you know, looks like when you unfold it, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
when you actually have it in your hands, for sure.
yeah, that's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice.
And how do we find you on the web? I guess it's easy to put your name in Google and find your website and your store and everything. So we'd like to help, you know, everyone support the band and go out and purchase the new album and the new CD and some shirts and whatever else.
All right, sounds great, man. Yeah, the unleashed.se is our main site, but obviously we do a lot of posting on Facebook and such. So anybody's welcome there to check in and see what's up. We're trying to keep it busier than we did a couple of years ago, because we've been really lazy when it comes to that. But in the past year, I think we've improved.
Yeah. Okay. Got a couple minutes left. John, anything you want to add or wrap it up?
No, just oh, go ahead. You
Yeah,
say
no,
something?
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's cool. You're the
We got
guest.
we got two Johns, so I guess that was a question.
Yes.
for one of you.
See, that's the thing, you know, nobody in Europe would call me John, but I know everybody in North America would say John and they mean Johnny. So,
Funny.
but then we have Mr. McEntee here too, so I don't know.
Yeah, we got a double. Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I'm
John.
used to that problem. Trust me here.
Yeah, man.
So we look forward to listening to the new album, and we wish you well and hope you get out on the road, and an honor to have you on the Rock Fantasy Files. I'm a fan of your music for years, and keep it together and stay strong, my friend.
Yeah,
Right,
give our
well,
best to the
likewise,
rest of the guys too.
Yeah,
I will do it, and you as well, John. And thanks a lot for having us, man. It's really nice talking to you guys, and hopefully we'll meet very soon, and not like 4 years from now.
yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah! All right.
Just know in the US we're waiting for you. So try to make it happen.
Yes, man. We'll do.
We need a
Take care.
Viking. We need a
Take care,
Viking.
guys.
We need a Viking pillage here.
Hell yeah! That's good. That's good. Yeah, man. We're coming.
Thank
All right,
you.
Take care. Guys. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.